هنا اصلا.
This time, we headed to Anatolia, a rugged mountainous region bordering well-known hunting grounds like Texas, Florida, and Georgia, where wild hogs are wreaking absolute havoc. We've encountered these invasive beasts before, but never have we been this prepared. So we made the call, head into the mountains and launch a surprise ambush. With a clear plan, advanced gear, and teams split into tactical groups, we were ready to make sure none of them escaped our sights. Together with a group of seasoned hunters, we ventured into the remote mountains in search of wild hogs. As we made our way along the mountain trail, I quickly spotted one and gave chase. I waited just long enough for it to enter my sights, then squeezed the trigger and secured our first trophy of the day. I widened the search area and soon spotted a few hogs making a run toward the valley. A few well-placed shots later, I had my next takedown. Some tried to flee uphill, but my teammates were already lying in wait. Guns loaded, fingers ready, it was just a matter of time. After a long chase, one massive hog finally burst out of the dense brush. I seized the opportunity and took the shot. It was a true beast, huge and thick-coated. Must have weighed at least 330 pounds. Luckily, it only took a single shot to bring it down. While scanning the terrain ahead for any sign of movement, I heard a faint rustle in the bushes. Instinctively, I tightened my grip on the rifle. When the hog darted across my line of sight, I lined up the shot and pulled the trigger. Direct hit, it dropped instantly. We kept pressing on. The tension was at its peak. Every gunshot echoed sharply through the wilderness, each one a fast, clean, surgical takedown. With every successful shot, excitement among the group grew. No one was complaining about fatigue. We were all fully immersed in the thrill of the hunt. A herd of wild hogs tried to flee across the mountainside, but we intercepted them in time. We gave chase, firing non-stop. Despite the steep terrain and the physical toll from hours of pursuit, we didn't back down. The rest of the hogs scattered in panic, but we stayed right on them. Not a single one would escape our sights. Locals told us these hogs often hide up in the mountains and roam down into the fields to feed. So we set up camp and patiently waited for hours, watching for even the slightest movement. And finally, the moment arrived. A massive hog broke from cover and charged across the open field. I closed the distance fast. Within seconds, a few precise shots took it down. My teammates quickly followed up, taking out the remaining hogs as they scattered in chaos.
Tamam.
As I moved through some tall grass, I noticed sudden movement. Oh no, just a few more steps and I could have been in real danger. Thankfully, I was ready. I took the shot just in time. The hog dropped mere inches away from me. The day was already growing late, but the hunt showed no signs of slowing down. Out in the furrow fields, the hogs roamed freely, searching for food. But this time, they would pay the price for their destruction.
Aynı sizin gittiğiniz yoldan abi. Aynı. Aa bak. Kulübenin orada. Kulübenin orada mesela. Sese gidiyor.
It was, without a doubt, one of our most successful hunts yet.
For the past 2 weeks, villagers in a rural region of Turkey have been constantly complaining about wild boars destroying their crops and even attacking livestock at night. Despite trying various traditional methods, the problem persisted. Faced with this urgent situation, our hunting team teamed up with the locals to take action. And so began the chase for these destructive invaders. This would be our first ambush of the day. We had just gotten into position when the first dark shapes started to emerge from the distance. Startled by the gunshot, the boar bolted, crashing through the underbrush trying to escape. After several more rounds, it finally collapsed onto the forest floor, and I couldn't help but celebrate the moment. Following that first success,
Our team advanced the mountain slope.
we immediately got into position, constantly adjusting our scopes as the herd moved unpredictably through the rough terrain. The first shots were fired from a considerable distance, a real challenge. But thanks to sharp focus and accurate shooting, we managed to bring down several targets in the blink of an eye. We had only moved a short distance when suddenly, another familiar silhouette appeared. The moment it poked out from the brush,
Iffy red, quick, clean.
and precise. Not far from there,
Another wild boar darted out.
I stood my ground, gripped the rifle tightly, and opened fire. Unfortunately, my first shot missed.
J20 the animal a chance to sprint away.
Luckily, my hunting partner had been waiting further down the slope. Right beside us, another friend fired and sent a second boar tumbling to the ground. The loud barking of our hunting dogs led us to another boar trying to hide. But this one wouldn't go down easy.
Le VN d'instinct driven.
It slipped through narrow gaps and dense foliage. Our team opened fire, but the boar kept weaving through the undergrowth.
Outmanœuvring every bullet. In the herd managed to escape.
Leaving us behind, frustrated and regretful. We pressed on over rugged, rocky trails, making our way toward the mountain peak. Scanning the landscape ahead, we spotted a herd of boars charging downhill. Determined not to let them get away, we quickly spread out and blocked off key escape routes. As soon as the boars broke from the trees, my buddy and I opened fire.
Letting off a storm of bullets.
Despite their frantic dash, two of them fell almost instantly. We were certain more wild boars were still hiding nearby. The team kept searching. Suddenly, under fierce pursuit by our dogs, a huge boar burst from the bushes, startling everyone. But this was no ordinary prey. It was strong, fast, and surprisingly agile. One final burst, then it collapsed in the middle of the forest, bringing an end to a truly intense encounter.
Before the summer comes with the scorching sun that makes hunting more difficult, my group of hunters and I decided to organize a hunting trip in Utah. This is an area with ideal natural conditions and climate, creating favorable conditions for wild pigs to thrive, not only big and strong, but also agile and fierce like wild animals. And to make sure we don't return empty-handed, we brought the best hunting guns and well-trained hunting dogs. Now let's wait and see what Utah will bring us. Arriving in Utah, we could not hide our excitement. The high and open hills here would be an ideal place for observation and ambush. Soon, the first prey appeared. I held the gun steady, calmly aimed, and pulled the trigger. The prey fell on the spot. Not a bad start. Just as we were about to retreat to another area, the hound suddenly barked fiercely at a thicket just a few steps away from me. I went closer to investigate without taking my gun. A lone wild boar was hiding inside. The boar became angry when it saw someone approaching and charged at me. Quickly had another head-on encounter with another wild boar. Out of the bushes, the black boar suddenly jumped out. This time, I had a firm grip on my gun, but I only had about 2 seconds to time it correctly and pull the trigger. It fell over and lay motionless in the tree. After those suffocating moments, the team decided to change their ambush position. I didn't have to wait long before a wild boar came into my sights. I moved my gun to match its movements, timing it carefully, and pulled the trigger decisively. The next prize was within reach. The gunshot also alerted another prey nearby, much larger than the last one. It jumped out from a bush, but still couldn't escape my gun barrel. About half an hour later, my dogs found a new prey. Hearing the echoing barks, I discovered a wild boar quite far away. In my hand was only a shotgun, but with the experience honed through many battles, I still aimed confidently. The bullet hit the target. The pig fell and rolled down the gentle hillside. The hunt was not over. After noon, I moved along the trails leading down the hill. The hounds found new prey. They excitedly formed a circle, not giving the boar a chance to escape. With the help of the dogs, this time everything went as easy as pie. By afternoon, the group was in a lush field that stretched across a hillside. Amidst the peaceful atmosphere, a wild boar suddenly darted across. Hunting wild boars is like that, always thrilling to the point of breathlessness. It is that drama that makes the victories so worthwhile. Located in Tucson, Arizona, the Santa Catalina Mountains are among the region's most renowned licensed hunting areas. With dense forests, rocky slopes, and deep valleys, the terrain provides an ideal environment for wild boars to thrive. It's no wonder that Santa Catalina attracts hunters from all over every hunting season. Our expedition, this time, also began in this very wilderness. To get the best vantage point, the whole team chose a high ground position for spotting and shooting. After nearly half an hour of patient waiting, what we had been looking for finally appeared. Oh look, a whole herd of boars is coming down the mountain slope. This is our chance. I raised my rifle and calmly took aim. Gunfire erupted, blending with the frantic squeals of the targets. Small but powerful bullets pierced straight into their vital points. Before they could disappear into the trees, I managed to take down 4 wild boars in quick succession. An exhilarating start to the hunt, thrilling and unforgettable. Remaining in the same lookout spot, I slowly scanned the surroundings, determined to spot the one boar that barely escaped. There it is. Just as it ducked behind a bush, I didn't hesitate. I pulled the trigger. It was a long-distance shot, but it still hit the target. It seems my skills have significantly improved with each challenge I face. Energized by the momentum, my team and I advanced further up the mountain, where signs of a larger boar herd had been discovered. Around 10 boars were making their way together, seemingly unaware of our presence. And the moment they slightly slowed down, eyes alert, we were already raising our guns. Quick, pull the trigger. Gunshots rang out, startling the herd into a frenzied escape. Only one boar was hit, collapsing in pain amidst the untouched wilderness. Here, wild boars are abundant. They travel in large herds, all of them well-fed and muscular. Waiting for them to come closer, we shortened the distance. The team gave a signal, and we fired simultaneously. Dust and smoke filled the air as the herd bolted in panic, trying desperately to escape the fierce barrage. But their efforts were futile against our team of sharpshooters. As a result, most of the herd was taken down right there on the spot, an overwhelming and undeniable victory. We quickly regained focus as our aerial tracker picked up the next target. As it passed before me, I didn't waste a second. I pulled the trigger. And just like that, the final prey of the day dropped to the ground. On the trail leading straight up the mountain peak, we occasionally encountered solitary stragglers trying to escape. This time, it was a large boar trying to break free from a circle of hounds. But with the team's flawless trap and execute strategy, it didn't stand chance. Hunting wild boars on such high mountain peaks remains a serious challenge, as they are extremely adept at hiding in dense foliage. We had to stay sharp and strategically deploy team members at the right spots. Even a small mistake could mean losing the target, or worse, putting ourselves in danger from surprise attack. As we climbed higher, the vegetation grew thicker, making visibility increasingly difficult. We decided to rely on our hunting dogs for support. Their sharp barks put the whole team on high alert. Not long after, the shadow we were tracking appeared. Hardy pulled the trigger. A perfect shot. The boar collapsed motionless beneath the nearby camp. It all started the morning before when my friend Enzo called me and said that he had discovered an area where hundreds of wild boars lived, and I agreed to join this exciting hunt. Because of the vast terrain, we spent most of our time following the tracks of wild pigs. Thanks to the tracking of the hunting dogs, we quickly found the area where wild pigs were active. About 150 meters away, there was a small valley, dense with tall grass and bushes. That was the wild pig's lair. Among many dramatic wild boar hunting trips, perhaps this hunt will be a special one for us when we broke into the wild boar's lair and ambushed them. We were accompanied by our great friends, the strong and brave hunting dogs. They played the leading role in chasing the wild boars to exhaust them. When the prey was tired, we started. The gun was loaded, the wild boar was exhausted, and I fired to see. A large wild boar was killed. It didn't take long for a wild boar to appear before us, and it was also taken down immediately. Wild boars are extremely dangerous, especially when they break into the lair of male boars. And every time we face these aggressive boars, we are very nervous and excited. At this time, I also understand why people call them monsters. Because one of its attacks can seriously injure an adult. Therefore, if you're also a hunter, you should also be careful when hunting these wild boars. Wow, let's see if this wild boar's speed is faster than my shooting speed. After one shot, this wild boar fell. The skill of searching for wild boars is also important. Not only observing, we need to listen for the movement of wild boars. Suddenly, a grunting sound came from the bushes. We started to take a fighting stance. Sure enough, a large wild boar with thick, dark fur rushed out from the bushes. I quickly raised my gun and fired. The bullet made the wild boar more aggressive, and it intended to attack me. I fired a few more shots. After hunting a few wild boars, we were not in a hurry to end the hunting trip, but wanted to take down more wild boars. The dogs sensed something. They suddenly became restless and started sniffing around. Well, it seemed like there were some wild boars in the area. We let the dogs loose, and, as expected, they started running in one direction. We determined the direction of the dogs and sped up to chase them, and soon, we heard the dogs barking. Wow, it was amazing how quickly they could find and chase a wild boar. A wild boar cannot fight back against a dog's attack, and it cannot escape either. We quickly captured the prey and rewarded our dog with a delicious piece of sausage. You can use hunting dogs in all your hunting trips. Especially, they not only operate in mountainous areas, but also in rivers, streams, or swamps. They can still catch large prey. Of course, hunting cannot lack some necessary tools, such as guns and knives, to take them down. Be careful because your dogs are also very vulnerable. If confronted with a large and aggressive wild boar, if there is not a large number, the dog can be seriously injured. In general, if you take good care of them, you will certainly never have to worry about safety after each hunting trip. It is not a hunting game, but a confrontation between farmers to protect their crops. And we, the farmers, have fought day and night to prevent the invasion of these destroyers. In Iowa, feral hogs are considered an invasive species and can be hunted year-round. So we bring rifles, silencers, and dog to track down and kill the hogs. The feeling was strangely thrilling. My friends and I, who were farmers, were now holding rifles, quietly ambushing in the middle of a cornfield, our ears straining to catch any unusual sounds. Oh, after a few hours of searching the cornfield, my dogs discovered the wild boar. Suddenly, it rushed towards me. Without hesitation, I opened fire to take it down. This pig is very heavy. It probably ate a lot of corn in the field. It is right to kill it. To search for wild boars in the cornfields, we use dozens of hunting dogs. A gunshot rang out in the cornfield. It was my buddy who had taken down a wild boar. Suddenly, a wild boar ran out of the cornfield. I raised my gun and pulled the trigger. The sound of the gunshot tore through the quiet air. The wild boar fell down. It was bigger than the wild boar my friend had just shot. "Focus, buddy. I hear some noise," my companion whispered. As soon as he finished speaking, a wild boar appeared. Not missing the opportunity, I aimed accurately and shot it down quickly. Sometimes, to defeat wild boars, we rely not only on guns and bullets, but also on understanding the behavior of wild boars.
Çok büyük, çok.
After a decisive shot, the wild boar was taken down. To avoid wasting too much bullets, you must aim accurately. Someone asked me, "Do you feel bad about hunting them like that?" Honestly, I don't enjoy killing them. But I have no choice. Not only do they destroy crops, they're also dangerous to livestock and even children. A neighbor once told me that his dairy cow was attacked by a wild boar at night and was seriously injured. The cost of replanting corn per hectare is already high, but if we let wild boars destroy it, we will lose the whole crop.
Bota aqui, não. Vira aqui agora, pra esquerda, tudo. Pra direita, tudo. Acompanha ele. Pra cá. Vira pra esquerda. Vai. Aí.
After a period of continuous hunting of wild boars, I have learned a lot. This invasive species has an extremely frightening reproductive ability. If not controlled in time, they will multiply like an epidemic. In particular, do not be subjective, because if you are negligent for just a few days, they will return and continue to destroy. All the pigs caught are shot down with guns. We do this to completely prevent wild pigs from breeding and destroying crops.
Geri çık.
On the final day of our grueling hunting journey, we made the bold decision to head for the highest mountain peaks, the very place where wild boars were hiding out, wreaking havoc on the forests, crops, and the delicate balance of the local ecosystem. Herds of aggressive, fearless boars stormed downhill, destroying everything in their path and plunging local communities into crisis. The most effective solution now? Hunting. Our wild boar hunting team was ready. Buckle up for a tense and thrilling expedition. After double-checking our weapons, the hunt officially began. Just 15 minutes in, a massive dark shape slowly emerged through the scope. I held my breath, stayed calm, adjusted every centimeter, and squeezed the trigger. The shot rang out sharply. In an instant, the boar collapsed and lay still. Wasting no time, I swiftly shifted my aim, where more boars were about to flee. One clean shot after another echoed through the silence. Each target fell one by one as their distinct cries pierced the still mountain air. Scanning the area carefully. When I was close enough and had a clear shot, I didn't hesitate. Bullseye! A well-placed shot dropped the boar instantly. It wasn't the biggest one, but still, a satisfying outcome. Fueled by success, we turned our attention to a larger herd moving in the distance. As the first bullets rang out, the herd scattered in chaos, running in every direction. But we held our ground, adjusting positions while keeping our sights locked. Gunfire echoed across the mountains as we took calculated shots, aiming to make each bullet count without waste. Some were wounded, others dropped on the spot, and the rest disappeared deep into the forest. Hours later, I decided to relocate to a higher vantage point on a mountain slope, an ideal spot with a panoramic view of the dense forest below. From there, I could detect even the slightest movement among the tall grass and bushes. Sure enough, just minutes later, a shadow emerged. From that distance, I lined up the shot perfectly and brought down the boar with ease. But the hunt wasn't over. I continued along steep, rugged slopes where chasing would be impossible. In these areas, ambushing was the key. We picked concealed spots and patiently waited for the boars to wander into range. With the help of our hunting dogs, we were able to detect and take down more targets with relative ease. To stay hidden and avoid alerting the boars, our team constantly changed positions, moving from one ambush point to another. On the sparse hilltops, boars occasionally emerged. I seized every opportunity to take them down before they could escape. As the hunt neared its end, the pressure intensified. To get a better overview of the area, we deployed a drone, our eye in the sky, to scan the terrain from above. Through the live feed, we quickly spotted a group of boars attempting to escape via a trail on the other side of the hill. We didn't waste a second. The team split up to flank the group from two directions. Shots were fired, and the targets were swiftly taken down. The chase grew more intense as other hunters zeroed in on their own targets and joined the firefight. On the way back, just as we thought the journey was over, a massive boar suddenly burst from the bushes, darting across the trail right in front of us. Adrenaline surged as we quickly got into position. The moment I had a clear angle, I raised my rifle and fired. The boar wasn't an easy target, but after a few well-placed shots, I brought it down. Yet, this is far from the end. Wild boars reproduce at an alarming rate, and the fight against these destructive invaders is far from over. This war may continue for a long time to come. Oklahoma, a state in the middle of the U.S., where corn, soybeans, and wheat fields stretch endlessly. But at this time of year, the fields are no longer peaceful. Wild pigs, destructive creatures, have appeared in terrifying numbers and destroyed more than 200 hectares of crops in less than 2 weeks. This time, we decided to head straight up the mountain, to their lair, to put an end to the destruction that is spreading every day. We started early in the morning. 2 large feeders were placed on the familiar trail, where people said the pigs often appeared. The trough contained a mixture of corn, pellets, and a special scent to attract them. No voice, no strong movements, just eye contact. When the distance was just right, the first bullet whizzed by, the boar collapsed right next to the trough. We continued our ambush at the second trough, more than 500 meters away from the first position. After more than an hour of waiting, another boar came. This is it. Once again, we have the absolute initiative. It seems that our position has been discovered, which makes waiting quite a bit of time. We started expanding our hunting range to the neighboring areas. We moved to a nearby plateau, which has a fairly diverse ecosystem, making it a perfect shelter for the pigs. Here it is. At a distance of 200 m, we opened fire. The pigs were caught off guard, unable to react. They were frantic, but all paths were blocked. A surprise attack, but extremely effective. Adjust the scope, check the surrounding areas, determined not to miss any targets. You see the dark shadows behind the tree. Boom! The gunshots are crisp. The leader fell. It was bigger than I thought. It was truly a great trophy. Without wasting any time, we followed the tracks of those who had escaped the previous battle. We walked for nearly 2 hours. Look! A few minutes later, with just one accurate shot, the wild boar was taken down. The feeling of hunting wild boars made me extremely excited. After the battle on the plateau, a few remaining ones ran towards the mountain top about 500 m away, an ideal escape route for them. Wild boars move very fast, so I had to aim accurately and pull the trigger at the right time to hit the target. Although the task was difficult, for professional hunters like us, it was normal and required to be done. The situation was extremely chaotic at this time, the herd of pigs frantically searching for a way to escape. But every corner was surrounded. In a moment, the wild boar ran past my sight. I quickly pulled the trigger. However, they were extremely fast. Not only, my teammates also took down quite a few wild boars. Therefore, today we certainly will not have to return empty-handed. Time is not early anymore. On the way back, the black shadows standing out in the middle of the field caught the attention of the whole team. Another herd of wild boars was found. At a distance of about 160 meters, I fired a few consecutive shots. The leader fell down. A fierce chase followed immediately after that. Luckily, we were able to close in time, taking down the remaining ones before they successfully escaped. The last shots ended a long day filled with the smell of gunpowder and endless battles.
I am an amateur hunter from Lyon, and have always wanted to set foot in the Boars forest, a place with a long tradition of hunting. But for more than a decade, wild boar hunting has been considered controlled, and farmers in the area have been suffering from the presence of wild boar herds. A terrifying invasive species throughout the Americas, it is now rampant in Europe. Early in the morning, the weak sunlight penetrated through the dense foliage of the Boars forest, creating a dim and quiet scene. I stood silently at the assigned position, listening to the slightest sound from the deep forest. Suddenly, the sound of rustling leaves and the sound of running feet rang out. It was a wild boar charging towards me. I raised my gun, eyes on the prey. When it appeared clearly in my sights, I held my breath, aimed carefully, and pulled the trigger. The gunshot rang out, the boar was hit and fell. Wow, this boar is pretty big, man. Don't let it get away. We were all happy and excited. Perhaps this land was rarely used by hunters, so the wild boars had become fearless. Taking advantage of this opportunity, we began to hunt more vigorously. Our target was to hunt in the lowlands. We quickly found a herd of wild boars. Without flinching, I aimed and shot one immediately. To hunt wild boar, you must be patient and wait. Aim accurately to destroy the prey as quickly as possible. Another wild boar appeared in sight. An explosion echoed throughout the forest. The wild boar tried to escape, but my friend fired another shot, officially killing a wild boar. Remember, the wild forest is the home of wild boars, so we always keep a safe distance to take them down. Don't get too close to them, because we never know what bad things might happen. Do you know how to kill a wild boar with just one shot? Aim well for their head or lungs. The wild boar will fall instantly. However, if you shoot while the wild boar is running, it is very difficult to aim accurately. At these times, we have to shoot many times to kill the wild boar. Wild boars usually move in herds, so when shooting, we will choose the largest size boar. Wow, a huge herd of wild boars. I can't imagine what would happen if they entered the farm. Without hesitation, I opened fire in succession, hoping to kill as many wild boars as possible. Not every shot is accurate, like this wild boar that was lucky to escape my bullet. Next time we definitely won't miss it. There is no denying that the forest in Archimbarois is vast. Due to the diverse terrain and ecosystem, wild boar reproduce and grow very quickly. Almost every section we encountered a different group. Seeing the silhouette of the wild boar from afar, I adjusted my scope and shot it down decisively. The shot knocked it down instantly. With such a large number of wild boars, we could take down dozens of wild boars on each hunting trip. While moving to the gathering place, we encountered a herd of wild boars moving on the road. Without hesitation, I aimed and shot a few. Finally, we gathered our hunted trophies and moved to the staging area. Most of us were happy and excited because the hunt was very productive. Last night, the residents of Tellico Plains, Tennessee, barely got any sleep as wild boars kept storming into town, causing chaos. Given the growing seriousness of the situation, we immediately mobilized a response team during the night. After tracking several clues, everything pointed in the same direction. These wild animals had likely migrated from the nearby Cherokee National Forest. As usual, We set off early in the morning, heading toward the forest where the wild boars were hiding. Everyone in the team was fully equipped with weapons, essential gear, and most importantly, our loyal hunting dogs, the indispensable partners in any boar chase. Just as we finished forming up, a herd of wild boars suddenly burst out from the distance in a frantic dash. Without hesitation, we locked onto our targets and opened fire. Gunshots echoed through the woods, and a bullet struck a boar squarely in the body. It tumbled over several times before collapsing to the ground, our first trophy of the day. Roughly 100 meters away, we stayed hidden, our eyes scanning every movement in the dense forest. My familiar rifle was already loaded and cocked. All that remained was to wait for the right moment. After 10 minutes, the sound of pounding hooves suddenly grew louder. I adjusted my aim and pulled the trigger decisively. The gunshot shattered the silence, and the boar I was targeting dropped instantly. A single clean shot, executed with precision, brought an end to the tense wait and delivered an unmatched sense of satisfaction. But that was far from the end. We reloaded quickly, ready for the next intense confrontation. As we moved along the gentle slopes carpeted in dead leaves, a surprising sight awaited us. Herds of wild boars suddenly appeared, charging like a storm and stirring the entire forest. Determined not to lose track, we picked up speed, closed in on them, and quickly narrowed the distance. Moments later, gunfire erupted again, and a full-grown boar was taken down in a flash. I caught up with a boar that had just broken away and swiftly chose a strategic shooting spot. As soon as it dashed past, I acted immediately, bringing it down with a clean, decisive shot, giving it no chance to escape. With our persistent chase and close pursuit, the remaining wild boars had no choice but to reveal themselves. Once a target showed signs of exhaustion and got separated from the herd, it was time for us to strike. This was the moment. In the midst of the bullet storm, every accurate shot meant another wild boar taken down. We took down all kinds, from agile medium-sized ones to large, battle-hardened adults. Each trophy was the result of patience, skill, and seamless teamwork amidst the wild nature. Relocating to a new ambush spot, something suspicious suddenly caught the entire team's attention. Wasting no time, we got into position, eyes sweeping every corner of the surroundings. There it was. That familiar dark silhouette emerged. I held my breath and squeezed the trigger with purpose. The shadow dropped instantly, ending yet another thrilling chase.